My name is Sophia Ellis, and this is my final presentation. Before we get started, I would like you to take a look at this student who is sleeping on his computer. What assumptions would you make about this student? Go ahead and pause the video or take a couple of seconds to think. A couple of assumptions that people could make about this student is that he is lazy, unmotivated or apathetic, or even disrespectful. But there are a couple things that could be going on behind the scenes that we don't even realize. He could be working a night job to support his family, which is why he's so tired. He could even babysit. There could be a language barrier causing him exhaustion, mental health or stress issues. He could even have home problems, such as housing insecurity. All of these things could be the reason why the student is sleeping on his computer. So what is happening here? Implicit biases. These are subconscious and rapid associations made about different actions and behaviors. These are assumptions we make based off of what we visually see. So how do we become better? Cultural competence. This is the ability to understand, interact, and engage with people who have different values, culture, language, lifestyles, and traditions. So I formed two questions to help us understand this definition better. One, how can we further understand individuals who are different from ourselves? And how can we interact and engage with individuals who are different from ourselves? So here's the first question. How can we further understand different individuals? Well, we can practice cultural humility. This is a personal, lifelong commitment to self-evaluation and self-critique. This is a lifelong process. Go ahead and take a look at these two images. Which question seems more appropriate? Go ahead and take a couple seconds or pause the video. If you chose the second question, you were absolutely right. As you can see, how you say things matter. It is important to reflect on how we engage with different individuals. Another way to understand different individuals is through a community walk. This allows us to listen to the needs of the community. More specifically, it helps us learn more about specific immigrant communities. We can also learn about our students' culture as a way to help understand them further. We can attend cultural events within the community, we can take a stand against oppression, and as I mentioned before, we can learn from our mistakes. How can we interact and engage with individuals who are different from ourselves? We can honor students' culture, ways of looking at the world, and value systems. For example, in different cultures, we have individualistic cultures and collectivistic cultures. In the United States, the UK, and Canada, these are very individualistic. People practice a lot of independence and self-autonomy where they're making their own decisions. On the other hand, we have collectivistic cultures, such as in China, Mexico, and Pakistan. There is more interdependence here, where people cooperate more with each other, and there are more shared responsibilities. It is very important that educators take into account this difference in cultures. Specifically with assignments, should we have more group work, independent work? Should we give students these options or choices? These are all things we need to think about when interacting and engaging with individuals different from ourselves. So why is cultural competence important? Or in other words, why is cultural competence essential in fostering inclusive and equitable learning environments? Well, it helps the youth feel validated that their culture is relevant to the learning experience. In addition, students do better in classes where they are centered. If students are able to find the material more applicable to their lived experiences, they may be more engaged. So how can we support cultural competence in the classroom? I have two strategies. My first strategy is through culturally sustaining pedagogy, or CSP. This is where educators encourage students to use cultural practices from home in school. This could be by allowing students to use their home language, incorporating people from students' cultures into the curriculum, bringing students' languages into the classroom, or having students see themselves in songs and examples. So how will I apply this strategy in my own teaching practice? In order to allow students to use their home language, I would consider making the discussion questions in their home language, so that way they understand the question a bit better. I would also encourage them to engage in discussion in their home language. That way they can get more out of the content. As a way to incorporate people from students' cultures, currently, I have been discussing diverse mathematicians and theorists. For example, the individual on the left is named Zhu Chongzi. He is from China, and he was one of the first individuals to calculate pi. The second individual is named Aryabhata. He is from India, and he created formulas for perimeter and area for triangles and cyclic quadrilaterals. Rather than just discussing Greek theorists, I've been trying to pull from different diverse mathematicians. In order to bring students' languages into the classroom, I am considering incorporating a word wall next year. So that way students become more familiar with the math vocabulary, especially in their home language, and they can make those connections. Finally, I would help students see themselves in songs and examples. This week specifically, I had students read different math-related picture books that showed diverse individuals in math-related fields, so that way students can see themselves in different math-related fields. My second strategy is the transformation approach. This is where the structure of the curriculum is changed to enable students to view concepts, issues, events, and themes from the perspective of diverse cultural groups. So how will I apply this strategy? This quarter, I attempted to apply this strategy through my Historical Sites project event for my geometry class. They had to analyze different architectural designs from diverse cultures to create a scale model. I created a scale drawing here of different historical sites from all over the world, ranging from France, India, Italy, Ethiopia, Brazil, etc., etc. The specific scale drawing that we see here, and the specific site here, is the Petra from Jordan, Asia. Students were able to use geometry in order to evaluate for different dimensions of the site, and they eventually created a scale model. In addition, they compared the designs of the different structures to determine cultural significance. We had a huge event. Students were able to listen to different music and try different candies from all over the world. And the picture on the right is an example of how the event went. In conclusion, I would like to continue trying to incorporate cultural competence in my classroom. I would like to try to figure out how I can incorporate culturally sustaining pedagogy more into my Algebra 2 class. I'm considering doing this mostly through our graph assignments as a way to demonstrate changes or differences in wealth, population, food prices, etc. In terms of my growth as an educator, I would like to continue to figure out how I can make mathematics more applicable to students and their experiences. I like to end with this picture here because I love how it shows what culture is made of. It shows skills, languages, medicine, stories, personal beliefs, etc., etc. I would like to continue to grow as an educator further by determining how I can make math more culturally applicable to my diverse population of students. Here are my references. Thank you so much for watching.